Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosin, and I have a very exciting guest to have on today. And her name is Jeanne Omlor. And she's going to be talking about a subject, and I'll have her tell you a little bit more about it as well, that she and I are both very excited about, and that isn't the normal health subject that she talks about when she goes on podcasts. So this is even something new for her. So
Exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah.
welcome, Jean. And like I said, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your other interest.
Okay. My real life is
Exactly.
I'm a multi-million-dollar business coach for coaches and consultants, and I also have another very high-end offer for high-level CEOs to find purpose and sort of fix whatever's going on. Okay, so that's the business
Okay.
side, and I'm passionate
Yeah.
about that. I love
Oh
helping
yeah.
people to thrive.
Yeah.
Okay?
I understand that. Yeah.
That's one of my main purpose in life, and I have a 40-year purpose now that I started at the age I'm 59. It's going to
Uh-huh.
take me through year 99. Is
All
my
right.
purpose is to help more people, to millions of people, to thrive in all ways. And health
Okay.
does come into that, but I'm not a health coach.
Yeah.
Although I was excited to be on the show because nobody ever has
Uh-huh.
me on a show talking about health, but it's one of my passions. So I'm thrilled to be able to,
Yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I think I like we were talking before we got started that we were kind of like, okay, now wait a minute, why is she on the show? And then when we
Business
figured it
coach.
out, we were both like, oh, great, oh, wonderful. Excuse me. So the energy on this should be really good. So
Great.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So why don't we start by talking about how you kind of got really into all
into
the health
into
because
health.
it's relatively new that you've gotten to that point,
Mm,
right? Or no,
mm,
has it been a while?
no, I've been into health my whole life, but
Oh, okay.
I have a new mission with my health
Ah, okay.
lately. But oh, I've been into health
Yeah.
since I was 17. And I used to
Okay.
go to health food stores because we didn't have internet. We just had libraries and health food stores. And the only real health information you could get was at health food stores. And I used to
That's
live in
right.
Australia. I grew up in Australia.
Oh,
And you would get
okay.
those little pamphlets about vitamins, and I'd be reading all very limited, but it was what they had as far as scientific, information was these little pamphlets on the importance of vitamins and very limited. But I'd go and devour all that, and I'd go to the
Yeah.
library and whatever was written. There wasn't a lot then, because I grew up
No,
in the
no, very
70s and
little.
80s, right? Because
Very
I'm
little.
59.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
I'm older than you, so yeah, I
right,
remember it very well. Yeah.
right. And then I did pick up a book that my dad happened to have in his library called White Poison when I was
Oh.
20, which was about how bad sugar is. Okay.
Ah,
And I
okay.
read the book, which probably is out of print now because it was from like the 60s or
Probably worth
70s.
a lot of money.
I don't know, but I picked it
Yeah.
up and I thought, oh, is sugar that bad for you? And
Yes.
it educated me way ahead of other people because nobody was really saying how bad sugar was. They were all talking
Yeah.
about how bad butter was. And then they'd have you eat margarine,
Yeah.
which is
Oh, which
way
is
worse than
worse.
butter. All
Yes.
these things of you
Uh-huh.
should eat oleomargarine because and then they realize butter's way better than, all that stuff, just the misinformation, right? But I read the book and I thought this makes sense to me. And I cut
Mhm.
out sugar for a whole year when I was in college. Like I just said, I'm
Oh.
not eating this bad for you. So I was
Uh-huh.
always health minded. I always ate a lot of, at that point I was eating, I ate sweets, but I tried to eat a lot of vegetables and
Hmm.
tried to work out when I could. But I was way more I never bought junk food, ever.
Mm.
A college person that never bought junk food. I realized before everybody else did, this is
Uh-huh.
not food. I would say to my family, this is not food. Well, yes, it is.
Right.
No, it's
No,
not
it's
food,
not. Right.
not food.
It's
So people
sugar.
would look at me, they'd look at me like you're a nutcase. Like, okay, we know junk food's not healthy, but it's food. I'm like, no, it's actually not food. And I was way ahead of my time. Okay. Then, as lots of years pass, it's like, well, gee, that isn't actually food. So,
Yeah.
and then I just had a really good diet. I lived in Paris for 6 years and I just ate a pretty
Mm.
good diet.
Oh,
I drank
nice. Yeah.
wine. I was eating sweets, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a bad diet at all. It was just normal. I always ate a lot of vegetables, brown rice. I didn't eat a lot. I didn't eat meat for a lot. I haven't eaten red
Ah,
meat in 100 years. Okay. I gave up red meat when I left home after college. Okay. In the
ah,
80s.
interesting.
In
Okay.
1980, I think seven, I said, I'm not eating meat anymore. I don't think it's
Uh-huh.
good for you. But I still ate chicken and fish.
Yeah.
I have not eaten red meat, I think, since 1989. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
no, but then, we went through all these different diets, all the different diets we all went through. Like, that must be, I forget what we call them now. So anyway,
Yeah.
but then recently, I was eating a lot of sweets. The one thing that I really like that's not good is I am a sugar addict. Okay, I love sugar.
Okay.
So I'm 59. I went and did a bunch of blood tests recently. It's called functionhealth.com, by the way. It's Dr. Mark
Oh,
Hyman.
okay.
You get you
Oh,
get
yeah.
over 100 blood tests for $500 times two. So it's amazing to take control of your
Wow.
health. And every time I go to the doctor, my joke is I just go to the doctor to get the blood tests. That's how I think. Okay, because I usually Google stuff and I usually figure out stuff more than my
Right.
doctor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but
Me
that's just how
too.
it's gone.
Me too. Exactly. Yeah.
So I went and got these blood tests, and I realized that there was a lot of problems coming up, that like 5 biomarkers for cardiovascular disease. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could have been one of those people that looks healthy and just has a heart attack out of the
Oh
blue.
my God.
So
Yeah.
I have drastically changed my diet.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing way more exercise, not like over exercise, because
No, because you don't
over
want to do that
exercise,
either.
yeah,
Yeah.
over exercise is bad for you at a certain
Uh-huh.
age, and it actually
Yeah.
depletes your immune system. So now is not the time for us to go do marathons, and that's not healthy
Thank
endurance
you.
because
Yeah.
I have Hashimoto. So, I'm being
Oh,
really like
yeah.
not overdoing it, but I've decided I'm going to fix everything. So I cut out sugar, I cut out all white flour, all dairy. Okay. And I'm eating much more protein because we can't synthesize protein. And my mission is to build as much muscle as I possibly can. So I don't
Mhm.
get sarcopenia because old people, the
Mhm.
people that don't have muscle, they're the weak ones that fall. So I'm like, now I still have a chance to build muscle. And I'm
Yep.
luckily genetically, I build muscle very quickly. So my
Uh-huh.
mission is build as much muscle, stock that up, quit the sugar. I don't drink alcohol ever now. Um,
Yeah, we stopped that as
and get
well.
more protein and do
Hmm.
more exercise. And I'm taking certain supplements and blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
So now I've adopted, because I heard this and this changed my mindset. What changed it was this. One of my colleagues said, he said, one of my colleagues who's really like a health expert, he said, we have to adopt the mindset that exercise is our religion when you turn into your 50s.
Mm.
And I already have a religion. I said, okay, now I have a second religion. He
Yeah.
said, and that shifted something in me that is not negotiable. It is not, gee, I think I'll work out a bit. And I thought, okay, now I get it. It's a lifestyle. So I started doing various types. I got a trainer. He trains me 2 days a week I'm building muscle. I swim,
Good.
I walk, I bike. I started
Uh-huh.
tennis again. I'm going to do Pilates. So I'm just mixing it up so it's
Uh-huh.
fun. And I'm like, what do I do
Yeah.
today?
You don't
And I
get
also
bored.
started, yeah, and I started wearing a weighted vest when I walk to build bone
Ah.
mass.
Uh-huh.
That's
Uh-huh.
kind of what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's a lot.
Mm,
And it's probably 50 times more than the average person. So,
right,
and that's probably underestimating.
right. But the thing is, we only have one body, and
That's very true.
and medicine is getting better. Like pharma's not the whole answer, but there are some drugs that are saving lives. Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and people are living longer, but they're not living better. And I mean, when
Yeah.
I die, I die. When God wants to take me, I'm going to go, right? That's it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not trying to live like way longer. I just want to be having a good life while I'm alive and I'm enjoying it, not sick
Yeah.
in a wheelchair and weak and hating my life.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And you're not out there doing it so you can run a mile faster and beat everybody
Mm.
else, all the other people of your own age bracket, right? It's like, nah,
No,
no, no, not going there.
right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And I, I know even myself. I mean, I'm eating better. I started eating better. My God, 30 years ago.
Mm.
No, gotta be longer than that. 40 years ago, 40 or 50. I don't know. I'm almost 70, so
Wow.
it was a long time ago. I developed a whole, pardon
Mm.
my language, shitload of allergies.
Uh,
And so there was a list of only about this long of things
what
I
you could
could
eat.
still
Oh.
eat.
Mm.
That was very easy to lose weight on.
Mm. So
But I
the other thing
huh?
is it just helps your mental. So the mental health
Oh,
too, like
yes.
the exercise helps the mental health, but I also work on
Yes.
my mental health every day
Mm-hmm.
because I have a challenge
Yeah.
with anxiety. And I don't take
Ah,
anxiety drugs, but I've
okay.
figured out certain mindset things to just
Uh-huh.
naturally curb that. My whole thing is here, I'll show you my post-it. I want to live with zero stress.
Ah, yes. How
Okay. And
nice.
also, I want to
Yeah.
do everything with pure joy. And I think that I
Uh-huh.
have these reminders that we are letting ourselves settle for a stressful life. When if you just say, I don't accept any bad stress. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started thinking this way, I was like, wait a minute, but I don't accept stressful situations
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If they happen out of the blue because I'm, I'm evacuating because of the hurricane, well, that's, unavoidable. All
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
I kept
Yeah.
myself not stressed about it. And
Uh-huh.
it's also about mental health. Exercise helps the mental health, but we do have to work on our mental health every day. I do. I
Oh,
know I,
yes. Yeah. Well, just
right.
just the balance whole thing
Mm,
is something that it's real easy to get out of balance, and then you have to notice it, and then you have to
mm,
bring yourself back into balance.
mhm.
And if you don't do all of that, then you can get stuck in the off
Well,
balance
you know what
area.
I do to make sure I'm noticing it? I wake up in the morning and I
Mm-hmm.
do a scan. I say, okay,
Yeah.
what's bothering me? Because usually there's something underlying because nobody has a perfect life. And it might be something
No.
small, like, oh, I forgot to pay that bill, which I don't usually, or, oh, I got to do that for my kid, or a big problem, or a
Yeah.
client
Yeah.
problem, or, something, or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
bad that's happened, like I lost a lot of money in investment. It's like bugging me. So I do a scan and I wake up and I go, okay, is there any feeling of ickiness? And I'm like, okay, there's that
Mm.
underlying anxiety or stress. And I
Okay.
bring it to the forefront because if you don't, it's there in the back of your mind, ruining your day somehow because you don't. And I bring it when I'm in bed, I bring it to the forefront and I go, okay,
Mm-hmm.
fully feel this feeling of that worry or stress. And I breathe into it. And the more I
Ah,
breathe into it and not avoid it,
yeah.
it regulates your emotions because you're
Mm-hmm.
not pretending. And then I'm like, okay, I'm breathing into it. I'm fully breathing into it. I'm not pretending. I'm not pushing it aside. And then once you do that, and I have a little thing I do that deletes it. Once I
Mm-hmm.
do that, I'm like, okay, I've acknowledged what that wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
what it was, and several things sometimes. Just
Mm-hmm.
okay, clear it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm clear for the day. I know what
Mm-hmm.
that was. And then I
Yeah.
do some gratitude. It's very important, I think, to get to the dark side first
Yeah.
and before
I
you do the
agree.
Pollyanna stuff, right? Because if you just do the gratitude, you're forgetting, like, wait, there are these issues that are bothering me. Bring
Yeah.
those out. And it's also dark journaling also works when you just write down everything that's not good in the morning, get it out,
Ah,
then you do your gratitude. Because then it's not like sort
interesting.
of like shutting up the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's what I
interesting. I
do.
hadn't heard that one before.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, you
that's
want to
good.
like
I
get
like that.
that's
Yeah.
what's missing with some of these happiness experts
Oh,
is they're not acknowledging that there are things that are bugging us. Let's get it all out there, neutralize it. Okay, that's it. Now we do our gratitude instead of sort of like Pollyanna-ing everything. Because it's great to
yes.
be positive, but you also want to look at, the shadow side, what's going on, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some things you just have to deal with,
Yeah.
right? You can't say, "Oh, I'm happy all the time. I'm happy all the time." It's like, well, no. The bathtub overflowed and whatever. I mean, there's
Well,
you kind of
actually,
had
that
car
I'm going to go.
accident, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go further though, because I have another thing
Mhm.
called what? And that's the other thing. You can be happy no matter what. It might not be as
Mhm.
soon as you hear something horrible,
No,
but
no,
you
I
can take a
understand.
moment and then you can get past that and say, you know what? My thing is I want to be happy no matter what, not just when my day is
Yeah.
perfect and the sun is shining and
Oh, yeah,
everybody's
no, no.
wonderful and paying on time and my kids are angels. Otherwise, we are waiting for that perfect day to be happy. If we could just say, I'm going to be happy. I told my sister this, and she said, that is actually a
In
really good
spite of,
philosophy.
in
Yeah,
spite of. Yeah.
no matter what. So this is not perfect. And it shocked me for the moment because that's not good. Okay, processed it quickly. And I'm happy now. I'm going to be happy no matter what happens. That, if everybody could do that, we would have great lives.
Mm. Or even half of it.
Yeah, I mean, even half the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I haven't
Yeah.
mastered it completely, but at
Uh-huh.
least I'm catching myself and going, okay, oh, but I'm going to be happy no matter what. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just because I said that, I'm seeing that I have a blue, beautiful bay in front of me and I eat well. And,
Mhm.
I think the more that we look at the glass half full,
Mm.
happier we are. Because, the wealthiest people that have so much, some of them are miserable.
A lot of them are miserable.
Mm, because they haven't mastered this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the other issue with them is that they have this fear of losing it, that it's all going to go away. So they got to hold on tighter and tighter and tighter.
Right. Or, there's that, fear of not having enough, still not
Yeah.
having enough. But also I think that it's a lack of seeing like how much they have. Like
Uh-huh.
if
Oh
we
yeah.
start writing down, and I do this, every single thing we're grateful for, it just goes on and on. That I have
Mhm.
food in my fridge,
Yeah.
that we live here, that I can do whatever I want, that we're all healthy, that we have
Yeah.
friends, that we're not sick today. You know, there's so much to be grateful for when you
I
just
agree.
keep digging in. And most
Hmm.
people, if you said to them, oh, you have such a miserable life, but wait a minute, what is going well? Well, do you have a good marriage? Yes, I do. Well, I didn't. Okay, you have a good marriage. That's something to be grateful for. Yeah, you're right. Do you eat every day? Yeah, I do. Great. Do you eat good food? Yeah, we do actually eat pretty well. If you're paying your mortgage every month, yeah, we are. Do you have a good? Yeah, we like our house. Are any of your kids ill? No. Grandkids ill? No. Wow, that's already a lot, isn't it?
Hmm.
A
Yeah.
lot of people don't have that.
Hmm. Yeah. That's very, very true.
Mm.
And most of those people, as you're pointing out, don't even appreciate it. So
And no judgment.
that's
I think we just get
no,
used,
no, it's just
you know.
it's humanity.
Yeah, yeah.
It's I mean
Wait.
it is. It's just,
Mm.
you know.
But people were surprised when I said, I'm grateful there's leftovers in my fridge. They're like, you're grateful for, yeah, because I don't have to cook tonight. I'm grateful. I'm
Exactly.
grateful that there's food in my fridge at all because I went through many years where I had no money at all. Like, so for me, coming from deep, deep not working, it wasn't work. Like 5 years ago, I was in deep debt as a single mom. It wasn't
Mm,
working. Turned my life around. So I'm super grateful, more than most people, because I know what lack is. I know what it is to not have what just average Americans have. Does that make
hmm.
sense? I had a
Yes.
lot of debt. I was, floating with debt, but I thought if I did not have credit cards, we would have been on the streets. Thank
Yeah.
goodness for credit debt. That's the other thing. I was grateful for my credit debt. And most people go,
Hmm.
oh, I have so much credit debt. I said, I was grateful that I had credit debt, you know,
Yeah.
that saved us. So it's how you look at,
Yeah.
people go, oh, I have so much credit debt. I said, lucky you. And they're like, huh? Lucky you, you have credit. Where would you be without that credit? They're like, I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way. Yeah. Alternative is not
Exactly.
very, not very rosy, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And it is so interesting with people because I don't know what part of human nature it's a part of is that the majority of people
Hmm.
always want to look on the negative side first.
Hmm.
They never
Because
start
people,
with the
yeah.
positive side,
Mm.
right?
Human beings love complaining. It's like
Oh, yes.
get an adrenaline kick out of that. I don't know why. It's just a
Yeah,
thing. Human beings
I
love
know.
gossiping and they love complaining. So I'm trying to be like an uber human that
Uh-huh.
doesn't love any of that. And I'm
Yeah,
working on, when I see myself complaining, I'm like, stop complaining. Because
yeah.
that's not helping your mindset. It's just negative, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, exactly. Exactly. And now you have that responsibility of having one or two kids,
I have two
children,
kids.
child,
Yeah. I
two
have two
kids.
kids.
Yeah. So, and it's just as important to instill that in them
Mm.
so they can start out earlier than you did.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to instill the health thing in them. They're not buying it.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
at
they
some
never
point,
do.
they might model it. At least it's there. But like, how come they don't care? It's like at
Because they're
all.
young.
They're young,
Because
but
they're
at
young.
least later on that, they can't say, well, my mom didn't tell us that,
Yeah.
exercise and eating well was important. I've done my bit.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
probably it's there. It's there.
Mm,
They just don't need it yet,
yeah, maybe.
you know. So I don't know. I don't know. I know myself. Oh, I was a fat kid, fat
Mm,
teenager, you know. Um, my mother had me on Weight Watchers, and there weren't
wow.
many diet things around when
Yeah.
I was that age. But and it's interesting because I ended up becoming allergic to like half the world.
Wow.
And it's amazing how fast you can lose weight when you're not eating most of the things you
At
were
all.
already
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah. Amazing because it's usually the sugar
Yeah.
and the bad stuff that's putting the weight on
Yeah.
anyway. Although
Oh
I
no,
must
it's
say,
yeah.
protein is very calorific. Now that I'm eating just more
Yes.
protein, it
Yeah.
is very like, I'm like, wow, I'm eating better, but I'm
Hmm.
definitely not losing weight because the protein is more calories than the bad stuff I was eating, actually.
Well, that's part of
Funny
it though. But
thing.
if you're also working out and you're building
Oh,
muscle,
yeah. Yeah.
muscle weighs a lot more than fat.
Muscle, yeah, I have, yeah. I'm not overweight, but I just thought, gee, eating
Yeah.
so well, I'm probably going to lose some weight. But the
Yeah.
muscles, you know, taking it
Yeah.
over, it's all good. My goal is
Yeah.
not to look skinny anymore. My goal is to build as much muscle as possible. It's a different goal. I look
Yeah.
good, but I'm
Uh-huh.
just going to build as much muscle as possible. And I never used to think visually that I wanted to be a muscle person. Now I don't care. It's about health now, which is very new for me, is to just focus just on the health. Of course, you look better when you're healthy, though.
It's true. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So how long now have you been doing this?
I
Out of
started on this.
curiosity?
I started with the I'm going to build muscle
Uh-huh.
January of this year. I thought I'm
Oh,
doing this. And then I, I thought I'd start that. You can't do everything at once. And
no.
then and I went off sugar and then I went back on it. And then I did the health blood tests, and that was a wake-up call. I thought, whoa. But there was stuff I didn't know. But now
Uh-huh.
I know, knowledge is power. I'm like, oh, these are things I should be taking, and I've got to stop eating this and do this and this. And that was very empowering just to get better data. And we don't have a lot of good data just from going to the doctor with the
Oh
very
God, no.
minimal
They
blood
don't they
test.
don't either. Yeah.
No, a minimal blood test. It's not a true snapshot of what's really going on in your health. And also, I did some microbiome tests for my gut health.
Oh,
Like,
uh-huh.
yeah, I did two. So, apparently, like you, like if I did it all together, I would be eating nothing, because you're not supposed to eat this. And they all came out different. So I'm kind of like just doing what I feel I should be doing and cutting out most of the bad stuff, or
Mhm.
all the bad stuff, but then other stuff that's not bad, but they don't think is good for me. So I have done
Mhm.
very vast testing. Microbiome testing is very important. Gut health. There's the blood test, but you also need to do a gut health because the
Mhm.
blood test cannot see what's in your gut. So that's super
No.
important. And that was enlightening too for me. I thought,
Hmm.
there's this happening. So, because the gut bacteria, they're figuring out that that's got more to do with our health than anything else is our gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it is kind of interesting too because a lot of times you can like develop there are things that don't agree with you, but
Mhm.
you don't know that they're not agreeing
Mhm.
with you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you're
Mhm.
not eating enough of that one particular thing
Mhm.
away from everything else to know
Right.
that that's the problem, and
Right.
you just feel rotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the other thing I think that people need to understand
Mhm.
is that sometimes it can just be one thing that you're allergic to or just doesn't agree with you
Mhm.
or
Or just a
whatever.
sensitivity. It's just not digesting
Yes,
properly.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's important to get more testing done just to see what's going on. Because I wouldn't
Uh-huh.
have been able to do all this without that data. And I thought, okay, now I have
That's right.
when I have a plan, I'm good. I'm just go for it.
Yeah.
So integrated more. And yeah, but I'm also, I also want to enjoy my life. But I actually like
Yeah.
exercising. I don't love working out at the gym. I don't, but I force
Hmm.
myself to go there because my trainer's there and he's like, okay, we're gonna do
Okay.
the, and you really do need to do weights. You got to do the weights.
I know, I know. I need to do that. I after COVID, about midway through COVID, I stopped going to the gym. My husband's still going there, but
Ah,
I've been, and I keep talking about it and talking about it, and said we won't go
mm.
down that avenue. But I've said, in fact, I told somebody, I said, this week I am going over to the Y, and I'm going to sign up at the Y
Mhm.
and start start doing some exercises, and
Mhm.
whether it's classes. I've never been big on classes, but yeah,
Mm.
maybe see
Maybe
what
it's
they have.
motivating. Yeah. Yeah. But once
Yeah.
you start, then you have to go. So that's the good thing.
Yes, yes, that's what I
Mm.
figured. And it's only on the other side of the freeway, so I mean,
You're good.
and I work from home, so there you go.
Yeah. So go do it. Yeah. Luckily, there's a gym.
Exactly.
Luckily, in the complex I live in, there's a really nice gym.
Ah,
So I have no
okay.
excuse. I have zero excuse. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. No, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So it's yeah. So what do your kids think about your are they like, "Oh, mom, are you making that again?" kind of
Well, yeah.
thing,
I
or are
mean,
they actually
whenever I
liking
cook
what
for
they're
them, we've
doing?
had very healthy. We eat greens every night, salad.
Uh-huh.
She's like, "Oh, it's another one of your green sloppy dishes," and I'm like, "Yep." So they have to eat a certain way when I'm cooking,
Yeah.
but then I can't make them not eat sweets. But I did try to limit their sweet eating during their
Hmm.
lives. In fact, my first daughter had never had an ice cream cone until she was 2.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And I just
Uh-huh.
thought, why give her sweets? Like, why create that? And the first time
Yeah.
she had an ice cream cone, she was just like, wow, wow. Because it's like
Can
dope,
I have
it's like
another
a
one?
drug.
Right? Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
just like, what is this? Wow. So, I tried to limit the formative years of not having so much sugar. Like we
Mm,
didn't have desserts all the time at home. They had other
mm,
stuff, fruit, and of course they had
hmm.
sweets, but it wasn't that junk food. No, they were really healthy when they were younger. They had organic everything. I made their own baby food. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we are more obviously we're still eating quite well, but they're going to eat, you know what I mean. It's
Oh
it's
yeah, you
it's better
can't
than most households. Put it
yes,
that
you
way.
can't guard them when they're not around you.
Right. And also, they got to have some fun food.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And there's actually some fun food that's pretty good for you as
Pretty good
well.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I've tried to work it all out.
Oh, I have no problem. I'm
Mm.
just for our
Yes.
people that are going to be watching.
Mm. But they love sweets.
That's
So,
all.
I didn't buy
Yeah.
sugar for the longest time. And they said, Mom, could you please buy some sugar? We want to make some cookies. I said, oh, all right.
Oh,
But I felt like why are we buying sugar? For years, I never bought sugar. It wasn't just we didn't have it in our
yeah.
house.
No.
So
No,
they're
I
like,
always end up
I
throwing it
want to do
out.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do more baking. I said, okay. So I bought the sugar, but I had to make some concessions. Just do you want to learn
Oh
how to
yeah.
bake? Okay. So yeah, I crumpled a little bit. Because we did make sweets when I was growing up, too many. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so yeah, and then I say, okay, we're not buying sugar for a while, and then okay, mom, and then I'll say, okay, we'll buy it again. So I kind of do that anyway. It's not, it could be worse. At
This
least
is
they're
true.
conscious. They're conscious of
Yeah.
good diet since they were born. They're conscious, and that's more
Yeah.
than most people are. So that's good.
Yeah. Oh no,
Mm.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So so I'm guessing that you're happy with how everything has turned out for you with since you started on your diet. Not
Well,
diet, but on this kind of
I've been on this strict diet for
right.
probably maybe 6 weeks or so.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
This is a
Hmm.
really strict one. I mean, I was eating well. I eat a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
vegetables. I've always eaten
Uh-huh.
a lot of vegetables, a lot of greens. I don't, but the
Yeah.
main thing was cutting out the sugar
Yep,
and
yep,
the
yep.
white flour and the dairy. So it wasn't as big a change for me as most people because I was eating really healthy, except for the dairy,
Uh-huh.
white
Okay.
flour and gluten and blah, 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 and the sugar. So yeah, I mean, um, I think I feel less tired not eating sugar, actually.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's hard
Uh-huh.
to tell. And yeah, I mean, I feel good that I'm doing something about that's a preventative of diabetes. Like what I'm
Mm,
doing is a preventative of
hmm
cutting all that out. And also, bread is not good for diabetes as well. So I don't eat bread anymore. Anything with
Okay.
white flour, anything like that. If I'm going to eat
hmm
a starch, it's going to be like brown rice or beans or something like that, or yams. Like I eat purple yams.
Uh-huh.
So all
Ah,
that's gone by the wayside. I'll eat a little bit of potato here and there if I'm at a dinner and they just have potato, and so
right.
break it a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's not enough to really make a problem.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that cutting out sweets and all the bad stuff, all the bad fats, you're getting rid of all the fake fats in the sweets with the fake fructose or whatever, sugar and flour and
Uh-huh. Right.
all of that and chemicals. You're getting rid of all of those bad things. It's not just sugar.
No, it's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't get any, I'm allergic to wheat. So
Oh, that's
that's
good for
easy for
you
me to,
because
exactly. I was
yeah,
going to say, so I, no problem staying away from that. But
yeah.
I do get some bread that's, obviously none of this is helping my memory, but, I'm trying to think what it's called. Oh, well, anyways, it's not made with
Not
any,
wheat.
not wheat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, they make it from some kind of I don't think it's a bean.
Spelt.
I don't know.
Spelt's still
No,
wheat.
it's not spelt. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're
something
right.
is.
Spelt is still
Yeah.
wheat. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, can't have that either.
Mm.
Um, so, but there's rice bread out there that's not bad either,
Sure.
which is,
But that's
still
still it's
rice,
still but it's still giving a sugar response in your body because of the starch.
right?
And
Yeah,
white rice, I don't eat white rice. That is not
yeah,
good for you. That's
yeah.
that's just like sugar in your body. And that's what
Oh,
people don't
oh yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. If I eat any rice, it's the brown rice.
Brown, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's yeah, it's so interesting in response to all of this, all of the new products over the
Mm,
past 10 years or so that
mm.
have all of a sudden shown up on the shelves
Which aren't
in
good for you
regular
just because there's
supermarkets.
yeah,
Right.
just because there's no gluten and it has all this other stuff in it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right? So it's really
Uh-huh.
about whole foods. So I try to do a whole food approach, except where am taking protein powder now, even though I'm not supposed to
Uh-huh.
eat peas. Peas aren't good for you. So I tried to find one without peas, because
Oh, yeah.
I'm working on,
Peas have a lot
more
of sugar in them, actually.
peas are just not very good for you. They're
Yeah, and the
not a healthy
starch.
food. Yeah, but all these protein powders, almost all of them have peas. So I found one that has no
Hmm.
peas in it.
Hmm.
So that's good.
Wow.
And so I am trying to like figure out ways of getting more
Yeah.
protein without eating tons of fish every day, because that gets boring. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the challenge is I eat a lot of nuts, lots of nuts, and I try to
Uh-huh.
eat dried beans, but that's not a complete protein unless you add the rice, blah, blah, blah. So this is the whole thing. So yeah, it's good. Nothing's perfect, but I do feel I've done a good job at getting more protein in my body, which helps you build muscle.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that sounds really interesting. So since you've now been through all of this, what kind of takeaways would you give to my audience to
Okay,
say,
so the
watch out for these things?
okay, the takeaway is it's not just white sugar that it's really causing sugar response in your body.
Mm,
It's
mm,
white bread, it's
mm-hmm,
white flour. So
mm-hmm,
I think that if you're in your 50s, you really want to start looking forward and realize that three major problems growing old are immune,
mm-hmm,
muscle mass, sarcopenia, and mental health. Okay, like becoming senile and demented. Okay. Those are the three.
mm-hmm,
I didn't make that up. So when you
mm-hmm,
think about it, okay, I want to look after all that. What do I do? I start working, you build as much muscle as you possibly can
mm-hmm,
before your body is almost completely unable to produce muscle. And that's
mm-hmm.
different for everybody. But old people, they just have bone and skin, and there is no muscle and little fat, right?
Mm,
That's why
mm,
they're
mm.
weak because they have no muscles to lift. And that's the
Yeah.
problem. Then you've got, not, there's things you can take for that, for the mental part, like not to become senile. There's
Right.
folate, there's things to take. And I'm not a doctor, but you can
Hmm.
Google this. What do I
Yeah.
take to support me not becoming demented or having Alzheimer's? There's all
Right.
sorts of things you can take. Okay.
Hmm.
Also, meditation is good for that as well. And
Yeah.
things like playing chess and doing crossword puzzles.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is not enough. So there's some sort of supplementation. And the other thing is boosting your immune system. Well, doing more exercise helps your immune system if you don't know, right? So all of this helps. Those are the three things I thought, okay, immune, how do I build immune? I'm taking certain things for that. Building the muscle, sleep is vital. So I've started getting to bed earlier. And even though I wake up more, I wake up a lot. At least being in bed earlier, I do feel more rested in the morning because I've just been in
Mm.
bed longer. It's just somehow.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
made me less tired just because I've gotten to bed earlier. So I have a mission to get to bed at 9:30 now. It's not easy because I'm a night owl, but I've
No,
been pretty
no.
okay. So it's 9:30 and sometimes like, and then it'll be 10, but at least it's not 12 or 1, right?
Yeah.
So my takeaway is focus on movement all the time,
Hmm.
building muscle, getting sleep, thinking about what you want to do to boost your immune. There's lots of things you can do, and boosting your mental, cognitive, you know,
Mm.
not
Right.
not going down the Alzheimer's senility because you could have a
Hmm.
lot of muscle and become senile and then well,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
those are the three
Yeah.
things. Those are the three dangers. I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
I'm on it. How do I do that? Because I'm
Right.
serious about my health. You can get away with a lot when you're young, like a ton. We get away with a lot of abuse, or I mean, not complete abuse, but not sleeping, and you can get away with it. But as you get older,
Mm.
there's no free pass. There
Yeah.
isn't.
I
Yeah.
know. I
So
know.
it's
Believe
not
me.
easy. Most people aren't motivated because they don't love their life enough. So then you want to focus on your
Yeah.
happiness so you care enough to want to live a good life. It's so,
Yeah.
you know, people say, oh, being human's not hard. I think being human is pretty hard. Let's just be
I
real.
do. I
You
agree.
know,
Yeah.
it's hard to live your life. And then, I'm also, what you're practicing a religion, you do the practice of that or a practice of meditation or whatever it is people are practicing
Hmm.
or piano or the
Yeah.
practice of sports, practicing, you have to just keep doing it, whatever that is, whether it's a religion,
Hmm.
whether it's manifestation, whether it's,
Hmm.
hypnosis or meditation or playing the piano or
Yep.
whatever,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Golf, those practices, they build, I think any practice is helpful
Hmm.
because it's just the repetition. And I
Yeah.
think that is super helpful. But I don't know all the answers. This is just, I'm a
Oh
business.
yeah. No, no, no.
Like,
Yeah.
this is my point of view. Um,
Yeah.
and but the good thing is they've realized that genetics play as little as 7% on your health.
Yeah.
We used to
Yeah.
think, oh, genetics. Genetics are not as important as we think as far as our own health. They play a much smaller
Right.
role than we ever realized that is good news,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Used to be, oh,
Yeah.
it's in your genes. Then they figured this out recently that we have way more control
Mhm.
over our health than we ever knew.
Mm.
That's empowering.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's just a very few things that you can inherit that you can't
Mm,
probably do very much about. But
right. Yeah.
there's very few, really.
No, but I mean, certainly you can get
Yeah.
cancer because your family has it, but there's things you can do,
Even yeah.
even
Yeah.
that. But there's certain genetic diseases that kids get at birth. There's nothing you can do. I mean, there's nothing you
Right.
can do about not getting it, but there's more
Yeah.
you can do with certain things to to
Right.
help it. Let's
Hmm.
face it, somebody was born with polio, they're born with polio. There's
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do to cure that. You can try to make yourself more comfortable. That's just the roll of the dice. And that's still,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
that's, you know, that's
Hmm.
something else,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. No,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. Which is kind of, yeah, thinking about it, it's kind of interesting. My mother, actually, she was probably in her 40s or so, um, developed a whole bunch of allergies.
Mm.
And, like she would walk into places and she'd have an allergy attack
Hmm.
from the cleaning, the thing that they did on
Yeah.
the rugs,
Hmm.
you know. And then there's four kids in the family.
Hmm.
Every one of us has allergies. Not
Right.
necessarily the same things, but we all
Right.
have allergies.
Right. So that is genetic. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still only a certain
Yeah.
percentage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you probably didn't get everything everybody in your family has. So that
No.
probably is genetic if
Yeah.
you all got it,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
but how
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
handle it. Now we're learning you can handle it different ways,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Used
Oh
to
no,
be, oh, I'm
exactly.
allergic. There's nothing I can do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, my thing is, do what you can to take control of your health.
Absolutely.
That's it.
That's right.
And
That's right.
some things you have
Just
no
to
control
make
over.
your life better. And that's,
Right.
there's no such thing as a perfect life.
No, but and
You
then
can
there are
get close, but
people that have diseases that there is nothing that they can, they're doing
yeah.
everything they can. There's no judgment because that's
Hmm.
just the roll of
Hmm.
the dice, right?
Yep. Yep.
But what the
Absolutely.
problem is that people are generally healthy and they ruin their health. That's the problem. That's where it's a sad
No,
thing
you're
where
right.
you were healthy and because of the way you ate, now you become a diabetic. And this is real. A lot of people are creating their own bad health, and that's where people could do better. And again, there's no judgment because
No,
people
it's just a
aren't
fact of life.
educated. They're not educated about it. They're not motivated. Maybe they're
That's
miserable. It's
right.
like, well, why do I care? So that's why the happiness has to come in. We have to have some purpose where we want to be healthier. Why do we want to be
Hmm.
healthier? That's
Yeah.
the thing. I want to be healthy. I want to play with my grandchildren. I don't want to be
Yeah.
this old, I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I mean, actively go biking and do stuff with them. So that's very motivating for me. Right. And maybe my
Uh-huh.
great grandchildren. I'd love to be able to play with my great
Yeah.
grandchildren. That's even better. So I got to
Yeah.
keep in good shape for that.
This is true. You do.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. Huh. Yeah. Sorry. I was just thinking about my husband's grandchildren.
Hmm. Do you play with them?
Not anymore. The younger one just graduated from college, and the other one
Okay.
is, graduated 2 years before. And yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then
That's
you,
what started me thinking, oh my God, there may be great grandchildren. Oh, I
right.
don't think I can.
Well, the thing is, do you want to play with them and not be like, oh, my
Yeah.
bag,
Yeah. Oh no, I know, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's just funny how your brain
Goes.
goes down
Yeah.
funny. Anyways. Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or yeah, I mean,
No,
as
I
far
think
as
I
or I
pretty
think
much
we've covered
dispensed
pretty much.
all of
Yeah.
my amateur health um
And mine, right?
philosophy.
I
Yes.
don't have any licenses to this either. So there you go.
No, no, and I will say, okay, everybody, I'm not a licensed health professional. Everything
Yeah.
I said was merely an opinion. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't come and say, well, Jeanne
That's
Omlor, I'm
I
not.
I
Oh,
cover all of that at the end of
very
the
good.
program. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes. So this is yes. This, in fact, I don't even remember anymore now. It's been so long since I did this. Um, yeah. So this is not to be seen as medical advice.
Hmm.
And if you are having a problem, please go and see your own doctor and get someone who has been educated and licensed
Right.
to
Unlike
practice,
us.
unlike us.
Unlike us.
Yes. But we're so much nicer to listen to. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Merely an
Uh,
opinion. Yes.
it, exactly. Exactly. So thank you very much, Jeanne, for being on. And with that, I will say goodbye.